Ladies, pack your hoe bag.
Who you calling a hoe?
Pour up a drink and start.
That's a little kinky.
Karen.
Streaming 24/7 across all platforms.
24/7.
Yes, sir.
Live on sayitloud.com. Lock it in.
Y'all keep it locked right here.
It is. Here we are. Wake up. It is another episode of Say It Loud Podcast with your favorite GILF, me, Karen L. And today in my hot seat, I feel like I haven't recorded a live episode. Well, not live, but an episode in so long. Like it feels so good to be back in my seat. And then it feels so good to be here with you. Right? Because we talk all the time. So those of you that are listening, I am actually live. Well, I don't know if it's live when y'all listen, but it's live with Monica of Twisted Intimacy. So Monica and I have been working together for the last couple of months, and Twisted Intimacy is something that I wanted to bring to my Say It Loud listeners, because we're always talking about relationships and intimacy and things of that nature. And I was like, what better than to invite my own friend to come talk to you about it. So hi Monica.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm getting hyped because I love talking.
You gotta be riled up when you're on Say It Loud Podcast, because there's just energy. It's just energy. So tell everybody a little bit about you, because I know about you, but they don't all know about you.
Right. So I am, again, my name is Monica. I began Twisted Intimacy back in 2020, and I've been going through somewhat of a rebrand now. I'm pretty much that person that I want to say I am your intimacy and sensuality coach. I am somebody that can be your friend. I am somebody that can give it to you straight when it comes to understanding what intimacy really is, what sensuality is, and really how to love yourself. Since the beginning, I have been preaching that you cannot have a healthy relationship with somebody else until you learn how to love yourself.
Talk about it.
Listen, and the more that I start talking to people, the more I started to realize that over time, we start falling in love with fantasies that are programmed in us when we're children. And when you start breaking it down and start saying, well, do I really like this fantasy, or do I want something different? Because I know I had to ask myself that, because before Twisted Intimacy even started, let's go there. The most I talked about sex was at pure romance parties and things of that nature. Never did I think early 2020 that I would be here.
Right.
And I say that because, when I thought about, I like to research about sex and different positions and how to do things. And then it got to a point where it's I noticed that if I started to talk about it with my friends, they either would do the whole, they didn't understand what it was, or they would try to slut shame you in a sense just because you wanted to talk about it or just listen to stories and stuff like that, which we could talk about that. That could be a whole topic in itself.
Yeah.
But what I know for me, what really put me on this and wanted to help others start their intimacy journeys was when I promised myself that I would never lose myself in a relationship when I broke up with my previous boyfriend. And
wow. Talk about it.
Look, it was hard. It was 5 years. And listen.
Because the fact that you can say that is a big deal. It is a big deal, and it should be celebrated, because a lot of women do that every day, all day. They get lost in relationships. They think they're in an intimate relationship, and they have a hard time realizing that they are not, that you lost who you were as a person, that there's no intimacy, or it's not healthy intimacy in your relationship. And you're so far in that you don't even recognize.
Listen, that's exactly what happened to me. I actually took on the traits of my partner, because my partner was very introverted, very I don't even want to say shy, but very quiet and stuff like that. And I noticed in a relationship he's the one that always wanted to go out, or he's the one that always wanted to do something. And then I was just like, no, I just want to stay at home. But there were other things in the relationship too that were red flags. And knowing what I know about myself now, that relationship went on way longer than it should. But I am grateful for the relationship because it has taught me how I want to be in a relationship. And
right,
my goal is to help others start that intimacy journey. Because like I said, it didn't happen for me until I had to break up from a long-term relationship that society said, be with this person because, you're about to turn 30. You don't have any children. You've never been married. Stay in this and you'll get the things. And it's just like, but if I'm already understanding that we'll get a divorce if we ever got married,
right,
why am I here?
right.
I had to get real with myself, and I tried the couples counseling, like I tried those routes, but I know for me, I had to choose myself because I don't like to fight with anybody. We were fighting. We weren't sleeping in the same bed, and that's a whole different conversation. But it was just like I checked out. I honestly,
Right.
before I broke up with him like in November 2019. I checked out of that relationship at the beginning of 2019. Like
Right. Well, I think as women, we tend to do that. Women tend to check out of the relationship before they actually leave. Like they need to detach themselves, and prepare for it. It's almost like a buffer. We need some buffer time to kind of understand that I'm leaving this. Let me get my ducks in a row. Let me get my mental and my emotional well-being together because I'm about to exit stage left. And women tend to do that because I checked out of my marriage 5 years before it was over. So, I was 5 years in, I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And I'm ready to go. So I don't think that that's wrong. I think what it is that we got to teach other people is that when we realize it's time to go, be honest with ourselves about that. Right.
Exactly.
And then like you said, know yourself well enough to know what you're going to need and how you're going to get through that. And then also like really thinking about our partners, and like you made some really good points. You were like, you get to a certain age where it's almost like you feel like, I don't want to leave this because I don't want to start over.
Exactly.
But I don't want to stay in this because this isn't what I want.
Exactly. And like I said, you got society in the back of your head, or you have family members in the back of your head saying, oh, well, who you're dating now? Or, I'm 32 now. And it's like, oh, you're in your 30s, you got to start having some kids soon. And it's just like, I know for me, when it comes to children, like I know that I would like a 2-parent household. So it's one of those things, like I definitely do value that, but I'm not going to just have children with random people.
Right, just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. No, I definitely believe in, especially when I do have children, like they'll come from a loving home,
right?
And like they'll know that they're that me and my husband, we love them so much, and they're created out of love,
Right. Yeah. So, no, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
So this experience in your life has now shaped the work that you're doing.
Yep, it definitely has.
Did you plan that?
No. Honestly, I didn't. When I say this fell into my lap, this literally fell into my lap. I remember during the lockdown, like my friend had said, "Hey Monica, for my birthday, I want to go to her Sexual Essentials, the Dick Riding and Squirting 1-on-1 workshop." I was like,
I was at them. I was there. I was on the Zooms for both of those because she was on my show. She's been on the show.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, like I'll go. This seems cool because I've never heard of anything like that before. So I was like, okay,
right.
So I went, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I actually liked how everything was taught. I liked the energy that was brought. And then I ended up finding a dick sucking class from Ashley Cobb, and
who has also been on the show.
Yep. And then this is all coincidental, y'all. I swear, it's all coincidental.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know you then.
Yeah, and then Pure Romance. I was going to so many Pure Romance parties that I started picking up on information anyway. So it got to a point where one of the consultants was like, hey, you should just be a consultant. You buy a lot of shit anyway. So I was like, all right, bet. And in that, I was able to get my certification in sexual health awareness. So I can speak on things, y'all. I just can't diagnose you or like you can't have a discussion with me. We can, have a consultation, do some coaching, but anyways. So that happened. And then I was also taking yoga classes. And when I was taking yoga classes, my aspiration was just to do a split on the dick. That's what I wanted to do. Because
that is my aspiration right now.
Listen.
I'm gonna do it.
Listen. And I'm almost there. Because that was the other thing I didn't understand too. Like, as I was getting involved in all these things, this was part of my intimacy journey. It was about learning different aspects and avenues of how to do things. And you don't have to do things in a certain way.
Right.
And so when I was in my yoga class, I looked at the instructor. I was like, I got an idea. And so that's when Twisted Intimacy was born. And we were able to do, different parties. We were able to do, different events. And as I started to rebrand this, I was like, you know what? Go back to the basics. I need to break down where all of this started. How would you start your own intimacy journey?
Right.
And once I started figuring that part out, that's what's been birthed. I have a new membership program called Master Your Intimacy. And in this, you're able to learn exactly how I'm going about things now. Because I'm moving very, very differently. The way that I think, the way that I speak, the way that I interact with others, like it's completely changed since 20.
Because you've changed, right? You've evolved in some ways and you've grown in some ways, I'm sure, because that's what these experiences do to you as a human being, right? You're going to grow and you're going to move into a different space. And so this is going to create a different opportunity for you. Right.
And like, I'm just, the people that have been attracted to what I'm doing, have attended a class or a workshop, like I'm very grateful for them, because at the end of it all, they said, Monica, thank you for this. I've never been to a class like this. I didn't know what to expect. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what to expect, but I'm glad that I came. And that's the feeling I want to give people. Like, when you attend one of my classes, we're going to be moving our bodies, because the way that our world works, they want you to be stagnant. They want you to have tight hips. They want you to have back pains and like all these other things. But once you start moving your body, you're going to start feeling really, really good about yourself. And I focus mainly on your hips and lower body as well. When it gets into like, I'll talk about liquid motion in a second. When it gets to that, that's more of like very fluid movement for your whole body. But when I'm doing my Twisted Sensuality classes, I really focus on our hips, making sure that our hips are open, making sure that our hips are moving. We're able to have control over what it does. And that's where I'm like, okay, bet. I'm a twerk technician. So I teach you how to twerk. And
you got to teach me. I don't know how to twerk.
Okay. Well, you're going to come to a class. So that's
I'm going to come to a class. I am.
But the purpose of twerking is to help open up your hips, because the way that I twerk, you're only moving your hips and your pelvis. That's it. There's no, we're not back breaking today. We're not breaking our back. We're really focusing on our lower body. We're really focusing on that sacral and root chakra. And if you really want to think about it, because everything's connected, you're going to be moving your whole body. But when you really open up down there, you'll be able to connect with yourself. And that's the whole purpose of this. Knowing yourself, knowing how your body moves. If you start practicing your Kegel exercises every day, and you're able to learn that, I can grip things now. Or you notice that you're taking lessons, or even, and I just recently learned this. I'm doing something called seed cycling, where you take a tablespoon of 4 different seeds. Well, it's 4 different seeds, but you take 2 at certain times of your whole cycle, and not just your menstruation. When I say that has changed the game for me, that has changed the game.
What does that do? Wait, tell me more.
Okay, so with seed cycling, it's pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, sesame seeds, and sunflower seeds. You'll take the pumpkin and your flax seeds in the first half of your cycle, so that's in your follicular phase and ovulation. Then just think about about 14 days or halfway through your cycle. And then for the other half of your cycle, you'll do your sesame and sunflower seeds. Only a tablespoon. You have to grind them up. It has to be fresh. But it helps to balance your hormones, because a lot of times
you grind them up and do, like, you just eat them like that, or you put them on something like?
I mean, you can. But I used to put them in oatmeal. Yeah, I used to do oatmeal. You can put them in cereal. You can put them in a shake. Like, as long as you're taking it some way, you're fine.
Okay.
But
it balances out your hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah, and it's so simple to do. And the thing that I like about it, it's gonna keep you regular. I'm just gonna let you know.
Okay, that's all right. We don't want to be full of shit anyway.
Right, exactly. But I learned this. Her name's Cassandra Wilder, and I learned that in her period reboot course. And just knowing about just ovulation in general, how important it is for people with vulvas to ovulate, like it blew my mind. And so I also I don't know
how important it is, but I've always been a big advocate of that's what makes us women, and that's part of the science of who we are, and that process needs to happen as healthy as possible. So I've always been an advocate for that.
Yeah. So like with ovulation, for what I've learned is that pretty much when you ovulate, because not just because you have a period, because I didn't know this, that does not mean that you ovulated. And in school, that's what we were taught. So it's very interesting.
I was today years old when I found out.
Listen, I was actually taken aback, because I'm like, why would they teach us, like, why would they teach us wrong? Like, I thought
that's what that was. Okay, I'm gonna have to Google when we get off and do some reading.
I'm telling you, that whole course changed my way. But the purpose of ovulating is an indication that your body feels safe and balanced to want to have a child. So it's like, when I started thinking about it, if we're really stressed out, if we're eating poorly for our bodies, because everybody's body is different. Say that 3 times. And it's one of those things we have to be more mindful of, even sleeping. Like, we have to be mindful of what we're doing to our bodies. So just all of these things, I'm incorporating that. And with me, I don't mind sharing information. Like, I just name dropped 3 or 4 people here. I don't mind sharing where I learned this stuff from, because I love the importance of, growing our community. Just with talking about intimacy and relationships at this level in general. And I like, that's another thing you'll receive from me. Like, you'll get the resource. I'll point you in the right direction. If you don't believe me, right? Or sometimes some things sound better from a different person, and I get that, because I'm like that. And like, any books I've read so many books about intimacy, the 5 love languages, the Ultimate Guide to Seduction and Foreplay. That one's written by Jessica O'Reilly and Marla Renee Stewart. Awesome book. I got to send you the link to that one, because
send us the link. We'll get it out there. Because I definitely think that a lot of people want the knowledge, but they don't take the time to, like, read the books and do the work. So this is an opportunity for you to get the knowledge through a shortcut. Do the work part, but kind of get it in a way that you can that's digestible for you, right? And that's another thing too, because, like, some people don't want to read the book, like you said, they don't want to hear it from someone else, but they want to hear it from a sister friend. They want to hear it from someone that sounds like they auntie. They want to hear from someone that kind of, like, cut out the bullshit and just told me what to do. And so I think sometimes we got to understand how that information is digested for us and what works best for us, so that you can get that information. So how does Twisted Intimacy benefit couples versus individuals?
All right, let's get into it because I had similar.
Is this a couple thing? Is Twisted Intimacy, is this a couple thing or this is an individual thing? Like, how would someone who doesn't know what exactly your workshops or your classes look like, how would they know if this is something for me?
Right. So right now it's individual based. I cater strictly to women and people with vulvas. And I say that because I've ran into a couple of incidents where some men or people with penises have sent me some messages and they were very inappropriate. But don't worry, y'all. I do have something in the works, and it will be a couples event. Or if you are single, regardless of your gender identity, you'll be able to attend, because everything that I'm teaching about, you can easily translate it to everybody. It's like, but sometimes the way that you have to say things is a little bit differently when you're talking to women or people with vulvas versus men or people with penises. So right now, again, I'm strictly with individuals, but there is something in the works right now, and I'm so excited. I'm really excited about it because it's based off of a book that I found out about last year at Dick Fest. And if y'all know what Dick Fest is,
can I go? I just want to go see. I just want to go see. I just want to go. I just want to be in the energy and check it out.
Yeah, it's virtual and it's happening June 10th through the 12th. I want to say it's something like that. June.
It's virtual, so it's doable.
Yep, and it's recorded as well. So if you have to do something, because I know it's during the summer, it's when I say it's so much fun, y'all. It is so much fun, and yeah, I'm really excited about that. But I heard about this book called The Multi-Orgasmic Man. And I was like, oh, okay. Because, everybody's talking about all the tricks that they're doing in the bedroom for the penis and things of that nature. And I was like, okay. You can make him do what? It's not edging? Because as I was reading the book, I was like, this sounds like edging. And if you guys don't know what edging is, that's when you bring somebody very close to climax, but then you pull away. And what this book is talking about is something a lot deeper than edging. Like, and what I like about it is that though it is catered for somebody with a penis, the author has put in certain exercises that even if you have a vulva, you can do this too.
Right.
Which I found amazing. But it kind of goes back.
I'm gonna need that book link. I'm gonna need you to swing that book link over here. As soon as we get out there, I'm gonna need you to text that tonight because I got to read that book because that sounds very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a book that caters to men, but I'm gonna read it.
Yeah. Like I said, and he kind of calls it out. It's like if you're a woman and you're reading this, you can do this or have your partner do this, and yeah, it's a long book. I'm warning you now, it's a long book. I wasn't ready. But what if you're going at it from I really want to know, it's definitely worth the read. But I say all that to say, with that book and other resources that I've been gathering for this, couples and men and people with penises, y'all look, that's gonna be something that I'm just gonna be like, yeah. Because even I was on a podcast last night and we were talking about just like the different perspectives that some men may have about relationships than women. And it's just like how men define intimacy is just like, oh, okay. Like I have to really break it down that intimacy does not mean it's sex, y'all. Intimacy just, it means closeness or familiarity. And if you want to know my definition, I say that intimacy is vulnerability. So when you start thinking of it in that nature, it just changes your mind about how you can be intimate with somebody or something. Because I do believe you can have intimacy with things as well. So I say all this to say it's like there's so much knowledge and I have a very interesting perspective of how I'm breaking things down because with me, I'm a solution-based person. if you're saying that you're not happy with your partner in the bedroom, okay, what are you not happy about? Are you able to communicate that in a healthy manner? Are you able to, as a couple, go to a class and be able to learn different positions so that you can move your body? Are you comfortable with having a conversation of bringing toys into the bedroom? Like, a lot of these conversations we're never taught as teens or young adults to have this type of communication when we get into relationships. So I feel like it's a purpose of mine to help facilitate a lot of these conversations and help bring that knowledge to people, because from this perspective that I have, it's just like a lot of people are starting to get hip to it, but like, who else is going to do it, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. I think a lot of times men get their information from somewhere and women get their information from somewhere else. And then they're not in the same space communicating, right? That's what happens. I'm getting information from my girlfriends. He's getting information from his guy friends. Maybe somebody going to read a book, maybe, or watch a video or whatever. But ideally, we're not having the conversations that we need to have in a healthy, intimate space where you have the trust, where you have the honesty, where the egos are not involved. Because that's a big issue when we start talking about people personally, right? And being satisfied and being loved and being intimate. And those are things too. A lot of people bring a lot of baggage into their intimacy and into their bedroom, and then not understand that, like, yo, you're bringing, it doesn't matter who you're with, you're bringing this baggage, right? And you don't understand your own relationship. Yeah. And you don't understand your own personal intimacy or your own experiences that you're bringing into this, and then wonder why we're not thriving.
You said it, like, it again, but it all goes back to, if you don't know yourself, if you, like, to me, before you get into a relationship, you have to be comfortable with being alone. Yeah, you truly do. And I say that from the perspective of sometimes life happens, right? And if you're always relying on a relationship to satisfy you and keep you happy, that's if you want to think of it like this, that's almost an addiction.
Right. It is.
You know, like it's one of those things where it's like, we have to truly fall in love with the person that we are, because if you have to have somebody else identify for you who you are, like, why would you want that type of existence?
But a lot of people are unaware. They don't know. They just jump from person to person, and there's no space. There's no healing. And now they're almost defined who they are by their relationship, not who they are as an individual. Right. Or when they're not in a relationship, they don't know how to function as an individual.
Right. And they start resorting to very toxic behaviors. Yeah. But honestly, and again, a lot of this is from my perspective and in my opinion about this, but I truly feel that, especially for marriages, you have to know your partner inside and out. And I do understand that people change over time, but just because I ask my partner, oh, hey, what do you like to do in the bedroom? Like when we first meet, that doesn't mean I stop asking that question, because guess what? What I liked at the beginning or before my relationship, I may want to try something or like something different 10 years into the relationship. So it's always important to have that consistent dialogue. And it doesn't have to be a direct conversation. Like, for instance, we definitely don't want to call anybody else and say something like, well, your head game is trash. We don't want to do that, because that's negative. And that's the person that is giving is going to feel some type of way every time they do it from now on, because you have now made it very ugly to try to do. So you always want
it's toxic now.
Look, listen, that part. And people think that, you know, people try to disguise it as a joke. And I'm very big on, don't joke with me about things that you're serious about. Don't do that, because once you start doing that, it blurs the lines between, are you being serious right now or are you kidding? Like, So
Right.
never joke about the things that you want changed, but you have to present it in a different light. So for instance,
Right.
the head game was trash. All right, bet. Hey, babe, I know of a great class instructor or workshop out there. We should really go take this. It seems like it's really fun. It's going to talk about sex and like giving head and like all these other things, because I definitely want us to, explore a little bit more and both of us improve on our skills. Or if you don't want to go down that route, you can easily say, hey, babe, I really liked when you gave me head yesterday. I really love it when there's like a lot of spit. Because I say that the reason why I was trash was because it wasn't a lot of spit. So you want to say a compliment, right, but also don't attack that other person, but say what you need.
It's like teaching. You got to give a glow and a grow. You got to be like, that's what it is. I think people don't know how to have those conversations. And I think that's a lot of what people suffer with when it comes to, I think men are better at it. Well, they're not better at it. They're more vocal about it. I wouldn't say better because they don't necessarily always say it nicely either, but I think they're more vocal. I think women need to feel more empowered.
Yes.
To have that conversation. And we're not always empowered as women because we don't want to hurt our partner's feelings. Exactly. Right? We're thinking from our emotions, where men are not thinking from their emotions. They're just like, it's okay. It's all right. But a woman's more thinking of her emotions. So she's not going to want to say that to hurt your feelings. And what we need to do as women is be more empowered around what it is that we want and what it is that we need. And then how to communicate that in a way that's still tactful and tasteful, right? Without making your partner feel inferior, without making them feel unappreciated, because all of those things affect intimacy, right? If your partner feels attacked, that's affecting your intimacy. If they can't trust you, that's their intimacy. If they feel hurt, that's their intimacy. Even if their hurt is in the ego, that's going to affect your intimacy. So it's really about having healthy conversation and then listening to podcasts like this and going into Twisted Intimacy and using those speaking points to start a conversation. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, you don't know how to start the conversation. Put this podcast on and get to this part right here and then pause it.
Right.
And use it as a vehicle to have that conversation. By the way, let's try this. Let's do that. Because sometimes people don't know how to start the conversation. And yes, you're someone who can mediate those conversations. I am someone who can mediate those conversations. But we just have to, if the two of you are in the car, you can have that conversation. It just has to be a little bit more thoughtful and tactful in how you're going to have that conversation.
Exactly. And like, again, I've learned a lot of these things from the resources that I've gathered. So the Ultimate Guide to Seduction and Foreplay. When I say there's so many exercises in there, not just about seduction styles and foreplay, there are things in there to how to communicate with your partner about what you want, what you need, and what you desire. Like, y'all check out that book.
Yeah. Oh my God. You have to have like a list of books and send over. Cause I'm like, y'all got so many reads. Yes. Oh, all you people that don't read, you could use Audible. Okay. I listen to books all the time, but, I put them in my headphones and I just listen to the book, but there's so many, like Monica's dropping so much knowledge on y'all right now. And all of these books, like, I have to rewind and come again, select that and stop it, and write them down because, they're going to help you navigate the waters. And take from it what you need, and whatever you don't need, share it with somebody else.
Right. Yes. Please. Like, it's so important. It's because it's all about, they want to say like self-improvement is like the big fad right now, but like, it's something that we need right now, y'all, because again, we're taught to do things in a certain way. And I feel like a lot of us are realizing that the ways that we were taught how to do things, those don't work for us anymore.
Right.
And we need to really understand how we are as people and not fall for what they call it now, the sneaky link culture.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I've got questions about that, but it's just like because I know the importance of when I am having sex with somebody. I know how important it is now, and it's not just something that was told to me as a child out of fear of catching something or out of a fear of going to hell. Like when you're connecting with people on that level, because when you have sex, that's why sex gets equated to intimacy, because when you're having sex, that's when you're most vulnerable.
Right.
You are exposed to that other person. But I also believe that, as you're making connections with different people, you can take on their traits. I had a discussion with a couple of guy friends of mine about that. Like, you can take on the traits of your partner or partners that you're having sex with, and that's good and bad. Like,
yes, I have a whole show about that. I have a whole show about it, because you're taking on somebody's energy, their positive energy or their negative energy. And I have seen people, and I said this in the show, I have seen people that before they got into this relationship, they were happy-go-lucky, they looked good, they felt good, they were always in a good mood, they was doing their thing. And then they get in this relationship and they got bags under their eyes, they look tired, they look beat up, they look haggard, they look drained. And I'm like, this person is draining your energy. They are draining you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And people don't think that we are being, now let me get into the science. We are balls of energy. That's what we are. That is what a human being is. It is a ball of energy. Just, we have skin, yes, but we are energies. And so when you put two people together, you are sharing that energy, especially in an intimate way. You are sharing that energy. You ever get on the phone with someone and they mad, and then you get off the phone with them and now you mad because they transferred their energy to you? Well, if they can do that over the phone, imagine what they can do in an intimate setting where part of you is inside a part of me.
Speak on it.
Right?
Listen.
So imagine that. I think that people take that on, and when we talk about chakras and stuff like that, like, yo, I don't need that negative energy. I don't need somebody who's putting that negative energy inside of my body. Mm-hmm. And that's why I can't get down with this hookup culture, because it's bigger than, I just need something that's physical. It's not just physical. And if you're talking about intimacy, is definitely not just physical. There's people that have whole intimate relationships without ever being physical.
Exactly. It's about that closeness. It's about being able to show your true self to somebody else and be on that deeper connection on that level.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that you're going to have better sex when you're intimate.
Yes.
When you have intimacy, when you have a real healthy connection, you are going to have better, period. There's no arguing with me about this. You can, if you want to, but you're not going to win. You're going to have a better experience physically with someone who you are in an intimate relationship with. However, whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever the name of it is. But the fact of the matter is that if there's not a connection there, a healthy connection there, then physically the connection is not going to be the same. Clearly.
I agree with everything. So
tell me more about Twisted Intimacy. What kind of classes are we offering? What kind of workshops? Like, how do you get someone? What about people that have apprehension to move out of their comfort zone, who might be like, that sounds interesting, but I don't know?
Okay, so I live by a train. Sorry, I can't help that. But pretty much, what I'll answer the last question first, and then I'll get back to the questions. Okay. So with the last question about if you're one of those people that's like, I've never explored my body. I was taught that was a sin. I'm not comfortable. I'm not this, I'm not that. I would highly encourage you to do one thing. Even before you think about going to my website, I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to really look at yourself. And that's if you can even do that. And I want you to find 3 things that you love about yourself physically. If you can't find those 3 things, find 3 things you like that may not be physical. If you can do that, or you're struggling to do that, then you need to come to a class of mine. I create a safe space for those participants that come. What we work on is moving our bodies. Almost any class that I teach, we're always moving our bodies. When you're moving your body, you're making sure that any energy that's inside of you, it doesn't remain stagnant. You're able to feel less blockage. Like you'll definitely get a little sweat in. You get a little sweat in.
A little bit.
But you'll start learning to really appreciate what your body does. I don't care if you're not flexible. I don't care if you don't have rhythm. Believe it or not, I got made fun of because I don't have rhythm. I used to say, but look at me. I got 2 dancing certifications. So
Yeah.
listen. But the purpose is to fall in love with what you're doing, because guess what? Once you are going to the way that your body interprets the beat and not caring what other people think about you, that's when people are going to be like, dang, I like the way she moved. I like the way they move. They'll really start to see that you're comfortable with yourself. So for my classes, I teach 1.0 liquid motion. I actually am working on my 2.0 liquid motion certification and something else on this year. I'm so excited. So I do teach that. And then I also teach what's called twisted sensuality. So the difference between the two, 1.0 liquid motion is, think of sensual body movement, fluid type movements. You're moving your body with intention, sexy floor work. So we will be on the floor. So grab your yoga mats, your leggings, and some knee pads, because we definitely will be on the floor a lot. But think of you really learning how to make your body flow on the floor and really have that very sensual arch in your back. Like really move your body with intention so that it doesn't look like you're a robot, but it looks like you're just flowing in the wind. And that's all what I teach in 1.0 liquid motion. I'll teach you how to move your bodies. We'll be doing a couple of forward rolls, backward rolls, shoulder roll. We'll be doing all the rolls on the floor. It's in straddles, like all that good stuff. Twisted sensuality. If anything, I would say take this one first. With this class, I break it down into 2 parts. The first part, again, we are moving our bodies, but in a different way. I also mentioned I'm a twerk technician. So I will teach you how to twerk in different movements, how to really tilt and tuck your pelvis, how to really make your booty do whatever. And all booties are welcome. If you got a flat booty, there is a twerk out there for you. I
feel attacked, but I'm coming anyway.
No. I'm serious. There is a twerk out there for you. But the purpose of me teaching that, and I might throw some 1.0 liquid motion movements in there as well. But the purpose of doing all of this is to really open up that sacral chakra. Because I need you guys to really feel comfortable with being in your body. So we'll also be focusing more on flexibility. So remember when I was telling y'all, my goal was to do a split on the dick. That's about to be everybody's goal. We all gonna be doing splits on the dick. So, we'll be doing a lot of hip openers. We'll be doing a lot of different poses that will open up our hips and get us into our splits. And then also look at, okay, if I'm in a downward dog, could this turn into a sex position? It sure can. Mm-hmm. So I like to, when I look at yoga, I saw more of the sexy side of yoga, the sexual side of yoga. So that's what I'm incorporating into twisted sensuality in that first part. You'll be learning you'll be moving our bodies, but you'll be learning different positions. You'll be learning how to really control your pelvis, because you can bring that into the bedroom as well. And then for that second half of the twisted sensuality, it's a Q&A. I may have a topic that I want to talk about, but if you have a question, you have the remaining part of that class to ask me whatever you want. If you want to talk about giving head or receiving head, we'll talk about that. If you want to talk about, well, how do I ride on a dick? We can go back to a little bit of getting into certain positions, how to make it not hurt as much, right?
Right, and be comfortable, right?
Yeah,
and confident. Comfortable and confident.
Yeah, so that's all that matters. That's definitely all that matters. But I use that last part to really have that that woman chat, have that sexy chat, because I give people a safe space.
Right.
If you don't feel safe, like outside of that, That's where you can come and ask any question. Everybody has different kinks. I will not kink shame.
Right.
Some things I don't understand, and guess what? I will probably send you to somebody that might know much more. But the whole purpose of this is that you feel comfortable asking those questions. You feel comfortable, and let's do the one that everybody feels uncomfortable about: anal sex. If you talk about that, we can talk about that, like and share experiences. And one thing I do preach: anything that goes on in a class, workshop, whatever, it stays in the class, y'all, because we do get very personal. We do talk about very intimate things, and you don't want anybody telling your business. So I just ask that nobody tell other people's business.
I love it. I love it. I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing to go to class and learn all of these things, especially for people who are not confident in those areas. But then to also have that time to have the discussion, because to circle back in the beginning, we were like, there's certain things we didn't learn.
Right. And
also, or we got misinformation from somewhere, along life on the street or something. Right. And so this is more like, all right, well, let's have those conversations that we missed. Right. Let's have that community and sisterhood and girl talk that I didn't get at 19 and 20 and 21. Right.
And for those conversations too, I'm also introducing another type of class. They're specialty classes. They're going to happen twice a month. And with these classes, I'm going to deep dive into my intimacy journey, and all those resources that I was name dropping, you'll probably see them again. And you'll probably see the information being presented in a very different light, because my whole thing is that you have to start understanding yourself, right?
Right.
So in order to understand yourself, somebody has to present the questions to you so you can ask yourself. And when you're ready, you can answer them. So we'll be going into what divine feminine is, what the difference between being in your masculine energy versus your feminine energy is. We'll go into talking about your yoni, just talking about what she looks like, how it feels, where your erogenous zones are. Because guess what? Again, they don't teach us that the way we say vagina is incorrect. Vagina is your inner. Vulva is the whole thing. Okay. And when we refer to vagina, I understand why certain like if you go to the doctor and say, well, X, Y, and Z is wrong with my vagina, and it's not your vagina, it's actually something on your vulva. So it's really important for us to go back to our sex ed, but actually have a real sex ed. Right. I made a crochet vulva, and it shows everything. And I did that because A, I like to crochet. So surprise y'all. But B, I like to give visuals of like what I'm doing. So we'll start learning about that. One topic is like we'll talk about oral and aphrodisiacs. We'll talk about just how to communicate with yourself, like figuring out, like we're going to deep dive into figuring out what you want, need, and desire. Because again, sometimes you may know that you want something different, but until somebody presents something, it may not click. So we're definitely deep diving into all that, and it ties into the workbook that I'm coming out with. And I'm really, really excited about this because when I say it has everything in there that you'll need for your intimacy journey. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about the workbook. It's something I've been working very hard on, but yeah, that's pretty much it for Twisted Intimacy at the moment. Like
it's a lot. That's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I sell I also sell toys and pure romance products at the moment right now as well. And I will create a whole intimacy journey kit for you.
Yeah.
Again, I want people to really get to know their bodies. And some people probably, I guarantee you, some people probably don't have the right toys because you can be stimulated in so many ways. But if you've always thought of sexual intercourse as just being the penis enters the vagina and that's how you get that ain't it. We gotta dial back. We gotta learn our body. So again, I am here to create that safe space, to help people lay the foundation so that they know how to have intimacy, love, and sensuality, especially with themselves.
I love it. I love it, Monica. I think that there's so much knowledge here. I think it's so much fun too. It's not just knowledge. It's like you get to move your body and do exercises and build a friendship or community with other people who are like-minded. I think there's so many opportunities here for you, but also for people that come to your classes and can partake in this. And there's no limit. So they can do as much as they want or as little as they want, but learn what they need to learn about themselves or for somebody else. Yes. So I think it's great. I'm a fan. I'm going to take a class. I'm definitely going to come take a class because I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it even just to try. Even just to try. So all the people listening who are like, I don't know if I would do that. Would you do it if we all did it together? Right? Or would you do it if your best friend did it with you? Because that's what I tell people. Like, maybe it's uncomfortable to do by yourself and it feels weird, but maybe you should try it with a friend. Maybe you should say, you know what, I'm going to get my best friend and we're going to do this together. And we're going to go on this journey together for our own individual intimacy so that we can be better people for ourselves, but also better for our partners. And that's cool. And that's cool. So I definitely want to put that out there because I think it'd be super fun to try. Monica, tell everybody where they can find you, social media, website, all that good stuff.
Yes. So you guys can find me on IG at twisted_intimacy. You can find me on Facebook at Twisted Intimacy. And you can also find me on TikTok at Twisted Intimacy. And my website is twistedintimacy.com. Everything about my Master Your Intimacy membership program is there. Trust me when I say, y'all, it's so much fun. It ain't gonna be looking good, feeling great. And it's definitely something very different. I will say that. Yes.
I also want to say, people that are listening, we talk about self-care a lot on Say It Loud. And I do believe that this could be something that you do for yourself, for your self-care. It's really important that the same way we commit to all the other bullshit we do in life, that we commit to something for ourselves. And this might be an opportunity to start doing that. Right? Yeah. I think so. I'm like, okay, this could be in my self-care bucket and add that to your self-care because it's important to do that. Unpack what you thought and repack the good stuff. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much, Monica, for joining us today on Say It Loud podcast. I feel like we got a wealth of knowledge. I got a bunch of books I got to go Google and read now. So if you see me reading books pertaining to this particular subject, mind your business. I just want to be better. But you can definitely swing me the link so that I could look at all of those. If you haven't already, go head over to Monica's website. It's beautiful. I looked at it earlier today. Thank you so much for being a guest on Say It Loud podcast. I would love to have you come back again, where we can kind of talk about a little bit more of your journey later on as it continues to grow and we manifest and grow this business with you and all of the people who partake.
Yes, thank you again. Thank you, because for everything. Like if y'all know, like the conversations that we have off camera, man, it's helped me. I know for a fact. So I truly want to say thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Anytime. Hold on this.